Hi, everyone. This is Ellen Marie Francisco. I want to talk about the new moon coming up on March 18th. It's right around the corner. It's going to be in the sign of Pisces. It's like a combination of things ending and beginning. So even though it's a new moon, we're still under the influence of the eclipse that happened on March 3rd. So we're clearing out the shadow a little bit as we're bringing in newer parts of ourselves that have been ready to rock and ready to launch and ready to take off. Who's not ready for a new beginning? Let's see, for the new moon in March. I feel like spring is springing. We need it. We're chilling out, I guess, during this new moon a little bit. Okay, well, let's see what the cards have to say, and we'll go with the rest of it after that. First card up is the moon, the new moon. As we went through the eclipse, we're still in the cycle of the eclipse. We're only a few weeks into it. I felt like there was a lot of shadow coming up through this new moon, even though it's the beginning. So it could be the beginning of our desire to finally clean out the parts of us that have been stagnant, that have been holding on, have been a little resistant or reticent to change. And if this is the moon, then it's quite possible that this new moon is going to shine a light on things that need to move through us in order to progress, in order for us to bring things into a better illumination for ourselves. Okay, that's where we're starting. We're starting also, it's a very emotional new moon. Of course, it's in Pisces. It can be spiritual. It can be definitely a water sign. So we could be feeling way more emotional than normal, but we could be coming out of some of our deeper, darker moods and elevating our consciousness to a certain point and becoming a little more mature emotionally and willing to lead our ways through it rather than crumble and fall. Yeah, I do feel like this is a very strong new moon. I feel like we have the help of the invisible world as well. I almost feel like the veil is so thin during this new moon as I'm even tuning into the energies. I can just see a bunch of ancestors and spirit guides and helpful beings on the other side, just waiting to burst through into this new realm of possibility. We've got the Page of Swords underneath us in our position of support. Well, you know what? Sometimes this is communication. Sometimes this is a new way, a new vulnerable way of looking at the way we communicate. It can be throat chakra. It can be a little bit of the mind as well as we come up into better ideas. Sometimes I feel like this is pure consciousness, just hitting our fields in ways that have never hit us before. And I know we've been going through a slow rebirth in these months prior. And this could be no exception here. We could be really looking at new ways to communicate, but also we could have a thirst for knowledge during this whole new moon too. Like we're bored of the same old, and we need a new way to do things or a new approach to things as well. Could be too that we're willing to be more of the leader in our own world and our own emotional desires and the way that we pursue our own happiness, that we could be relying more upon ourselves. I did feel that during the full moon, like we could be becoming a little more self-reliant and tuning out the world a little bit, focusing more on our inner world. So if you had been doing that prior to this new moon, you could be really launching a new part of yourself that is in better focus or is in better alignment with your truest self as well. And you may not be as afraid of yourself, but usually the moon there's all this hidden stuff, the subconscious stuff. God knows what we're doing. God knows what we're saying. God knows what the point of it all is. But with the Queen, King of Cups, there's a little bit more mastery. There's a little bit more of an ability to lead with our hearts as well, which is, I think, the point. So we could feel like we're coming out of an emotional turmoil and we've come to terms with what we had to learn during that turmoil. Yeah, that's true. Still waters run deep and they could be hitting the surface, basically. We do have five of wands as well, part of this spread. Fives are change. Sometimes this is the stuff that you don't have any control over, even though you may be clear-minded and be a little more able to rally with whatever your emotional truths are. Some of the timing may be off. It may be just the idea phase, not the action phase, or you may be having to wait a little bit for that invisible support. Like I said, I just see a gazillion allies in the background here. So, and in the sidelines. So you know what? This could be a sense too that you're learning how to rely on the invisible world for help as well. You may have used your heart to say your prayers and to admonish to the heavens to help you. And this could be the way that you're having to prove that you're willing to wait for that help. You may actually be slowed down a little bit. You may be on more universal timing than you care to be. And a lot of times there are a lot of helpful allies in the background trying to make your world a better place. I mean, there are really great people out there who do want us to shine. And sometimes they talk about how best to help us without us even knowing it. So I would say stretch your perceptions or stretch the possibilities that you do have help. You have probably more help than you believe, and it could be coming through in really unusual ways. You just may have to wait for it. And patience is a virtue. You could be, yeah, you could just be having to wait a little bit. It's okay. Everything will come to fruition. Seven of Pentacles is a nice way of invoking the heavens to a little bit. I've nicknamed this card the Giving Tree. I feel like there's always a whole bunch of our invisible allies that are willing to enrich our worlds and able to bring new things to our real world in this 3D part of our day to day. So this is also a little sense of don't be afraid to ask for the help that you need from the heavens. It's going to come to you, and it's certainly going to come if you're clearer minded and less emotionally wavering. I mean, if you're coming into new strengths and possibilities as far as how you work your energy and you're willing to master some more of your internal energy and bring it into the outside world, obviously you're going to get rewarded. The universe always rewards us for connection to ourselves and the belief that we have in ourselves. It could be that you feeling a little more solo journey. I felt that with the March 3rd full moon eclipse, and I'm still feeling that energy with the new moon coming in. Yeah, it's almost like we're going to be a little more self-reliant. We're not waiting so much on the day-to-day people in our worlds to do anything. We're enlisting the help of the heavens and the helpful allies that are kind of assigned to us in the invisible world. And you could be very aware of them with this Pisces moon. We've been slowly working through new levels of our own spiritual awakening. A lot of us have new understandings about our own empathic gifts, our own psychic visions, our own telepathic input. And it could be that you're willing to stand strong in that and you're willing to harness the help that the universe is bringing you in a more soulful, manageable way. Instead of feeling like you're being drained, I feel like we're getting more of our energy back, like we've got more of our deeper resources at our fingertips this time round as well. That's not a bad thing. We do need our resources. We do need to feel good about everything. And it's possible too that as the moon is shining light on these new waves and new promises and new pathways that we're willing to harness the energy in a way that really is befitting to our growth. And the strength card is over our head. So that means that we could be taking on a lot of new divine strengths because of our willingness to give up our shadow finally. And you know what? When you do part ways with the shadow part of yourself, you do open up a whole lot more room in your energetic structure to allow for other things to come in. So it's quite possible that as you're saying goodbye to the things that don't fit anymore, it's this last little purge before full on spring happens. You're maybe willing to plant new seeds in ways that you never have before. You may be a little more patient with the whole process and be ready to wait it out for the good stuff to happen. And that's why maybe the strength card is coming up over us, because it's necessary that it helps, and it's necessary that we allow the help of the heavens and our own divine portions of ourselves to help us get there. Who doesn't need some strength here? Of course, it's upside down. Does that mean we're weak, or does that mean we're using our strength? I think it depends. It is a solar plexus card as far as I'm concerned. And we always have a lot of buried treasure in our psyche, in the corners of our mind and in our soul, and strengths that we've had from other lifetimes sometimes come into this lifetime as we heal the depths of our past. It could be that we've shaken free so much of the dark shadow part of ourselves that we do feel more enriched, especially, I mean, with the Queen King of Cups crossing us. If you're feeling stronger already and then you walk into more of your strengths, and you're a power pack waiting to happen. And it could be that you're recognizing that your own divine self is coming and showing up to the party here, and you're willing to work with more of who you are and what you are. And some of this ends up being mandatory by this time you tune into your magnificent higher self and all of your allies. Then, in a lot of ways, you're completely unstoppable. And that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling here too, is the sense of we've been gathering momentum, and we've rested, in January and February. A lot of us were just asleep. Maybe we just needed so much sleep. And now that spring is about to spring, and spring is about to spring, then it could just be that you have gathered your resources, you've gathered your strength over the long winter months in the cold and in the dark, and now you're willing to put it forth in a way that is spiritually coherent and emotionally captivating. Yeah, that's how it looks. And we have a Knight of Wands also in our doorway to the future. And we do have all these rings of fire that have hit us in the eclipses. And here is a ring of fire in the card. So it could also be that you don't have as much fear because you do feel more sure of yourself. And even if you're not totally sure of yourself, you just may be sure you need to keep moving, and you may be sure of the plan. So even if you had some self-doubt, you're going to get on to this journey and you're going to get it done. Sometimes we feel the fear and do it anyway. It's the last little bit of fear we feel, and then we're free of it. So, what if you were at the point where this was the last time you had to be insecure about anything? I know for a fact that the more tuned into your own soul destinies and your soul journeys, and the more willing you are to work with them, the easier it is to work with them. And universe brings us a lot to work with when that happens too. So I would say accept the help of the universe that's inevitable, and the quiet strength that that brings. And of course, the Knights do love to get things done. They're willing to get on the road and put the miles in, and this is no exception, I guess. I think we are on a journey. I think we've been waiting and waiting for the journey to begin. And it could be that we're just being pushed into our new worlds with a new momentum that we didn't expect. And yeah, I do. I feel like there's some really good quick moving energy with this new moon cycle. And we've been waiting to begin anyway. Some of us have been very anxious to get our starts, but the universal energies weren't really all that favorable because they were spending a lot of time forcing us to let go and let the things move off of us that aren't part of this next leg of the journey. Not everything can come on the journey. I mean, think about it. When you pack to go on a trip, you bring your most favorite things. You don't bring the things you don't want. So think of it that way. It's like we're going on a new trip and you're just going to bring the things that you want the most of to have around, and the rest doesn't matter. Ah, and we get our happy ever after if that's the case. So coming into new energies, we could have been also building for, it's quite possible, as always, that we're letting go and beginning all at the same time. One day we're letting go, the next we're beginning. We're planting seeds, we're throwing old things out. And the happy ever after cards, the Ten of Cups, it is emotional for sure. It can be our emotional body. The Queen, King of Cups promises an emotional journey here. So if we're willing to stand in our emotional truth and in our emotional strength, it is true. We get the payoff. And even if it's not just our emotional truth, it could be any truth that we have, our soul truth, our heart truth, all of it conspires to bring us more happiness and more settled fruition or comfortable completions and all the rest of it. Our happy ever after card could relate to relationships. It's quite possible that because you got the relationship with you right and on the right footing, that all the other relationships are settling in nicely as well, or moving around you to nourish you in these coming months ahead. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I guess we've got three more cards. We have a Six of Wands upside down. I feel like this card has a lot to do with our identities. Sixes do have to do with our value structure, sometimes family. I feel sometimes that we're getting on a plane to go see our loved ones, or somehow our family is important. And it could be that these are the ancestors of our past that have passed before us, and that you could be using your time when you're asleep to go see them through the astral channels and to rekindle the energy and the love that they have for you, as well as they could be helping shape your identity in a way that just helps you remember who you are at a soul level, all the parts of you that you might have forgotten. If you're having a lot of astral traveling. If you're doing a lot of astral traveling, you may be having deja vus to go along with that. If you don't feel any of that, it could be just you're not conscious of it and it's happening when you're, really deeply asleep and your brain just doesn't care and doesn't want to be involved, but regardless, you could be putting on some miles here. And spiritual family is big with this card too. I keep seeing these allies come in around, like they're circling in around us, which is fantastic. We need all the allies we can get. And then I guess the question is, are you in a state of emotional purity to allow the help and to allow yourself to be vulnerable and in the reception mode so that you can receive the things that may be destined for you as part of your growth and part of the strength that you're building, being your best divine self? Oh, and if you haven't unburdened already, I guess there will be, like I said, a little bit of building the new world, a little bit of saying goodbye to the old world, overlapping with all of the new energy. So be very careful with what you're taking on. Like, what are you taking on that isn't yours? Do you even need it? Do you want it? You may not need it right now. That could be part of your challenge through the moon cycle, is to realize that your sensitivities require you to just be more careful with what energies you take on. This with the moon energies, often we get more emotionally sensitive anyway, which creates more of our psychic sensitivities. And so this could go two ways. You could really feel the push to unburden and to let off of your shoulders anything that isn't really yours to do, any of the projects you've given yourself. You could be doing everybody else's heavy lifting and finally have an aha moment. Oh my gosh, I need to be lifting for myself, not everybody else. So instead of doing the heavy lifting, you could be doing the cheerleading from the sidelines anyway. It's fine to motivate people. Maybe that's the best way to use the energies here. Also, the Ten of Wands can speak to an extreme sensitivity and an ability to kind of feel the room in a way that you never have. So I think especially with the Queen, King of Cups on top of us, this is a very emotionally charged month. You could be growing up in ways emotionally that you didn't know possible. If you haven't already grown up, you could be growing up in very big ways right now. And anyway, you know what? Boundaries. You could just be setting really much better boundaries for yourself and those even around you. Like sometimes we need to set the boundaries for people in our worlds because they're just, too blown out to realize where they need to draw the line. So you may be helping to draw the line in other people's lives because your sensitivity is so attuned that you have no other choice because you're not really going to be taking on anybody else's problems. So if somebody's trying to shovel all their stuff into your direction, then you could be saying something about it. You could be really taking care of yourself in a way that you haven't ever been comfortable to take care of yourself because you have no other option. Your higher self has already come along for the ride, so you can't be betraying yourself while you betray your needs to the needs of others around you. Yeah. So that looks good. So our final card is the Hangman. So the hangman is a little bit of the heavens, a little bit of the earth, a little bit of the mind, a little bit of the third eye, open endless possibilities. A lot of times the hangman asks us to take a chill pill and go to the park. Maybe the weather's going to be good enough for us to do that this time around with this new moon. And for sure, we don't want to be overthinking during this phase. We do have, like I said, a very strong emotional card here. It could be that you grew up more emotionally, so you're willing to allow your heart to take the lead here, not your mind. So if your mind's turning up and turning up and turning up, like some kind of wheel that never stops, you could be also unburdening all of those unhelpful thoughts, the things that just don't need to be in your mind field. And if it's hard to stop your mind, then try to at least work in the happy ending or the miracle ending instead of just the doom and gloom. A lot of times we'll cycle through thoughts and they'll just get worse and worse and worse. And before you know it, we've got nothing, nobody loves us, and nothing's happening. So it'd be better to finish all your thoughts with some kind of a happy ending and to put some visual stimulation into the things that you need by using your third eye. This can be a very dreamy card too, where you could be dreaming more or just way, way, way more aware of what your actual ideals are instead of the just busyness that life can be, giving us all the mundane tasks. The hangman could be showing you a way to step back a little bit and enjoy your day, enjoy what you've created, enjoy what's coming into being. And sometimes, you know what? We just need the space to create. So try not to bunch up your schedule too much again, because we do have this sense of needing to unburden things. So maybe bless the things that you're saying goodbye to, have a soft goodbye, a heartfelt goodbye, not an acerbic one that makes you feel guilty or sad or anything else. It'd be better just to bless everything on its way out. It did serve a purpose. Most of the things in your life were things that you wanted to a certain degree anyway. So if they're outmoded and outdated, give them a kiss goodbye and send them on their way without the begrudging sense like something went wrong. Usually there's not a whole lot wrong. It's just the timing, 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 timing. Timing is everything. And the hangman does take time too. And you know what? We had the five underneath us earlier as a point of support. So this is universal timing, and so is this. This is more on the earth plane, this is more on the spiritual plane. So it could be that it's taking a little bit for all your spirit guides to get the work done around you or to manifest according to your desires now that you've got a clear idea of what it is that you want to have begin and the things that you want to have launch. So yeah, I'd say go to the park if it's warm enough to do so, or get outside in a way where you can slow down your own day and dream a little dream for yourself. Our third eyes are probably really going to be active during this new moon because of the way I feel like the Pisces is going to bring in more spirituality as well as the emotionality to go with it. But like I said, we're clearing out a lot of that doesn't belong. So you could have some nice, clear, ripe landscape here to plant fertile new thoughts with, and yeah, and the patience to see them grow as well. Yeah, okay. So that sounds good, right? Sounds better than the eclipse energy reading I did a couple weeks ago. And let's not forget, you're supposed to have a happy ever after life. You know what? Written in the codes of your higher self and your spiritual contracts are all the beautiful possibilities that you signed up for and that were going to be part of your strategy and your um culminations of plans. You know what I mean? Like it was written in the stars that you get to have a whole lot of fun. So if you haven't been having fun, or if you're, angry and resentful about things, and clear that stuff out for sure, and attune yourself to, well, what is my happy ever after? Because the more you choose yourself, the more possible that happiness is. And if you were smart enough during the beginning of March to let the world fall off a little bit as you delved into your inner world, then you're going to be happy with the results because spirit always matches more than one-on-one to the kind of rewards that we're destined for. So I would have a date with your higher self and feel into what were the dreamiest dreams of dreams that you would have allowed yourself before you came here, and the possibility that you sowed into your future and all the beautiful things that could come into being because of that, and allow yourself to find the space for it. We've been letting go and shedding for so long now and having to form better boundaries and better relationships and better ideas for ourselves that, this could be the new moon where things really do catapult for you, and you don't want to miss it because you're off target with what the focus is. So your focus is your emotional strength and your willingness to live the emotional truth that is required to bring in all the other beautiful blessings that are yours to have. Yeah, it's true. Okay. So have a great new moon. Set yourself some prayers and intentions, write a little bit, or sow something in symbolic means, plant something, plant a few seeds and watch them grow. Get ready, whether that's metaphor or literal. Maybe grow some sprouts on your windowsill to prove that life is nourishing and giving and fulfilling and can constantly nourish your new growth if you're willing to let it. And sometimes, you know what, the new stuff comes anyway, even if we don't want it, right? So who knows? Oh, yeah, it's funny how you cut the card, shuffle, 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 and then you get the same card. So, yeah, be aware that your prayers can be answered. Maybe it would be good to make a list of the things that you need and want to experience and the growth that you're willing to have during this new cycle, and turn it over to the heavens and let your spirit guides and your higher self and your sweet ancestors from other timelines help nourish you. Be open for the help that is available to you. But dig deep in yourself and allow it to happen. All right. So have a great new moon cycle. I will see you shortly. Thanks for coming into my channel. I sure appreciate your participation. And I guess if we want, we can pull one more card. Let's see. Oh, we got the knight again. So yeah, plant your seeds, be willing to go on the journey, your journey, the journey you really want. And that was another thing that I kept seeing, of course, that this whole year was going to be very heart induced, love induced, passion induced. So be willing to ride for yourself, get on your own journey, be willing to bring into the world the things that you most want for yourself and that are going to make you the happiest. It is your life after all. It's not like you came here to do something else other than you. So keep that in mind. You are a worthy divine being on this planet to help your dreams come true. So when your whole arc of life is finished, you can look back and go, you know what? I did it. I did what I needed to for the reasons I wanted to. And I lived my truth in a way that brought me a lot of peace and happiness. Yeah, that's how you do it. Be you, be strong. All right. So until I see you again, have a great everything. Thanks for coming into my channel. Bye for now.